immediate past chairman of the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Redan. He is no other person but Chief Andrew Lucky Elewere. Please come on, sir. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Raymond. You know, if I was to go by what you normally say, I won't do any transaction, to be honest with you. Very fine lecture, actually, I must commend you. But you know, wisdom, sometimes you don't apply wisdom all the time in real estate. All you need is just to be smart. You know, because if you apply wisdom, you won't get anything done. If you are going to be too nosy, you want to check everything, you want to flip all the papers, you won't get anything done. Okay, my PA recently became a father, actually, just 3 days ago. So my itinerary has been a bit scattered, so I didn't get to know about what's going on and all of that. But I'm here now, and Michelle has just been telling me a few things I needed to talk about. As long as it's real estate, I'm always very ready and fired up. Michelle, you know, to be honest with you, I'm opportune or privileged to witness your involvement. And then I will say that I'm very thankful to God for where you are today, and what you have been able to do for the industry. It's only God that can thank you or that can pay you back. You've been very phenomenal, to be honest. Your growth is worthy of emulation. It's something that we all should learn from. And I tell you, I've learned a lot from you. Sorry, just one more thing. You have a very outstanding character. Humility is your watchword. And I think I'll encourage you to go on that path. Just continue on that path. My name is Chief Andrew Elewere. I'm the MD CEO Aiben Properties. The Aiben group of companies, actually. It's a conglomerate. We're into hotel, we're into real estate, we're into media, and of course services. I'm always very elated, excited to stand before you to talk about real estate, something that has given me so much, and I'm always willing to share, you know. A lot of people, I think I witnessed the last two speakers. They've really talked about how you can make so much from real estate. I don't think it's new, everybody knows that. Real estate is number one. I'm just trying to emphasize what you said. You know, it's about the best in terms of, you know, generational wealth. If you truly, really want to build wealth, you know, I think real estate, you can't just go wrong when it comes to real estate, you know. And, okay, so my topic is, talking about the opportunities in commercial and residential real estate, isn't it? Okay, good. I don't think that will be difficult anyway. So let me see. Okay, so once again, good morning. Basically, commercial and residential real estate are the major arms of real estate. Commercial is when you know, basically use any premises for commercial activities. In other words, the permit you have on a certain project in a premise is to do it for commercial purposes. Whether it's a warehouse, in other words, you want to rent it to put things there, it's a commercial real estate. Whether it's a space for offices or malls that everybody's aware of, it's a commercial real estate. In fact, these days, they've taken it to another level. You can actually put up an office, set it up, and then people come there to rent it or something. Once they are done, they go. It's also commercial real estate. So it's very broad. Yeah, I mean, there are so many angles to it. You can begin to talk about it from here till tomorrow. It's something that is trending. If you go globally now, most people venture into commercial real estate. They rarely don't do residential again because, you know, it affords you the opportunity of having multifunctional building Whereas you can put in something like this, an apartment, within the, premise. You can also have an office. You can have malls. You can have everything within one building, and then that's multifunctional building, and then that's still real estate. So it's fantastic, So you are not in any way boxed to a corner where you will be marketing only residential parts. So you can now market both the mall, both the residential, just think about it. So basically, that's all commercial real estate. And then again, but let's look at it. If we have to look at it vis-a-vis, which one is more profitable, whether it's residential real estate or commercial real estate. I'm sure all of us we already used to residential real estate. We understand how it works, how you can literally go into site and services, whether you want to sell lands or perhaps you want to build the houses and eventually sell them. That's residential real estate. Or you stay with the commercial and then try to see which one is better. So we'll be looking at it from different point of view, from the developer's point of view. In other words, the developers, which one is best for you? Do you want to go into commercial real estate or you rather go into residential real estate? There are a lot of factors you can look at before you consider. Of course, you look at location, you look at how much you have, you look at your concept, the concept you want to achieve with the project. In other words, is it a project you want to just build and exit, or you want to earn residual value or residual income eventually, with the project? Or it's a project you probably want to will, or give out much later or something, So all of that are what is going to come together to be the factors that will make you decide which one you want to go into. Okay, so if you have made that, if you look at those factors, and I'm talking from the developer's point of view now, as a developer, which of them is it residential real estate you want to go into or a commercial real estate? Both of them are the major real estate model that you can actually venture into. So, but those factors I mentioned earlier are the factors you need to consider before you eventually make your decision. And then if you look at how much you have, and then the location of the land, and then the concept you want to achieve with that project, then you decide. Okay? Sorry, can I have the water? Okay, thank you. Okay, so for me, just 3 years ago, I basically was also, at this point where I had to take this decision whether it's going to be commercial real estate I should be doing or residential real estate. And of course, some of these factors that I've highlighted were factors I needed to consider before I could make up my mind. And then, to the glory of God, I ventured into one, which I attempted, and I must tell you, it was an instant blast. It was very successful. Okay, so many of you will obviously stay within the ambit of residential, maybe because that's what you're used to, or because it's just the conventional thing. People just talk about residential, and then nobody really wants to get into commercial real estate. Or perhaps, because you feel that the majority of your clients would always want residential because we have housing deficit. So most people who come will say, look, let me solve my housing problem first. I want to get a place to live before I start talking about where, I'll do business and all of that, maybe. But the reality is that commercial real estate has a whole number of factors that, makes it a lot seamless compared to residential real estate. One of it is the fact that you don't have to spend so much as compared to residential real estate. In residential real estate, you probably have to build, and then you finish the whole entire house before you now get someone to buy. Even if he buys that off plan, eventually you are going to build the house and then hand it over. But for commercial real estate, you can sell per square meters. All you need to do is to finish the entire space to an extent. You don't need to equip it so much with, equipment and some other things that you need to put into a house, or rather the complex, all you need to do, just sell the spaces on per square meter, and then people will come and buy. So the one we did like 3 years ago, it was successful. We were able to reach out to people, and at the end of the day, we sold it. It was almost sold out before we even got to a reasonable level. And today we are planning to do something much more, a lot bigger than what we have done. So for me, from my own point of view, I think if as a developer, people need to try new things. I think the whole idea of doing real estate, residential real estate, is a little bit saturated. We've talked about the fact that we need to diversify, we need to look at new ideas, because it's really very competitive. I agree with you. Real estate from Lagos to Abuja is becoming a very hotbed. Everybody wants to go into real estate. Everybody is practically doing real estate. So you need to find that thing that will bring you out, that difference, that thing that will stand you out in whatever you do. And I think commercial real estate is something you need to consider, to be honest with you. It's apart from the fact that it can earn you residual income, because at the end of the day, managing it is a lot easier as to compare to managing residential real estate. Because residential real estate, once you build and then you sell, people who have taken over the houses, at some point will feel that, look, you don't have to load yourself over them again, and then they start giving you all kinds of trouble. Before you know what's happening, you have to exit. But with commercial real estate, there's a tendency, because people don't live there, even when they own the properties, they don't live there, they'll have to rely on you to manage it. And then when you are managing it, obviously it comes with a whole lot of other, side hustle income and all that you can get. Like if you manage, you sell power, you sell. So for me, it's fantastic. It's a phenomenal idea. It's a lot better than residential real estate. But I think many of the people here today are mostly realtors, isn't it? We rarely have developers in the house, right? So for the audience I'm speaking to, you guys are more concerned about which one would be easier for you to market as a realtor, which of the two will be a lot easier for you to market, or perhaps which one will you be able to which one is a lot easier to work with the developer? So for a mall, if I must tell you, a mall or warehouse or anything, it's just like residential real estate as well. The way you market in residential real estate is also the way you market a mall. The opportunities that comes with residential real estate is the same opportunity that comes with a mall. So it's just about you. It's about you and then your expectations, and then the quality of the job you are marketing, So that's what will set it out. But at the end of the day, both of them are fantastic. They are both good. But it's just that from the developer's point of view, it's something, it might be easier, to be honest with you. It might be easier for you to be able to make more money, to be able to exit easily, for you to use the property in the long run, if you were to be in the commercial real estate. Okay, so, but I need to say something, because I realized that the last time I spoke to this same audience, one of the things we couldn't really talk about, was how you can easily transform from being a realtor into a developer. I'm sure we talked about it. I don't know those who were in that last forum the other time. And then now that I have the opportunity, perhaps we can also just look at it. I don't have a slide and I don't have a prepared text, because I feel that we are here to just share knowledge and then just to look at things together, and then freely we exchange ideas and all that. So for me, something that is very instructive happened to me recently, and I will be sharing it with you. I feel that you may be able to learn one or two things from it. It's very phenomenal. It's something that I've been doing over and over again, but it keeps working for me. So now that I've tested it more than once or twice, I think one can be sure or to say or be certain to say that it's a tested model that people can actually build on, really. So I think it was last year, I think the second, okay, so we've done, in Aiben really, we've done 5 private investment offer in the last 5 years. So for every project we do, what we basically do is to advertise a private offer where we'll expect that our clients will respond, and then from there we're able to raise funds for whatever project we want to do. So this one is a little bit very striking because it was so fast, and I thought that it's something that is worth talking about. On was it last week or so, a property came out. That was why when I came out, I had to first of all talk about what you were saying. So the property is so good that I didn't need to start doing so much checks. I remember I called Michelle, and then I was telling him about how good this property is, and then how much they needed for this property. It was within the range of 13 billion. It's in Usape, but we needed to raise an initial deposit somewhere within the range of 2-3 billion. And then we started calling people. I think it was on Friday or so. I think I called him soon, and then you told me that you had an investment you just did. So what I did was, of course, the money wasn't there. To be honest with you, we didn't have a couple. As at Friday, we probably just had, maybe within just normal running costs, running funds and all that. So, but we were so sure of this project, and then we needed to do it. Okay, to interest you to know that on Sunday, I think it was a Sunday, yeah, we issued a private offer, which we sent to all our platform. As at Tuesday afternoon, we had raised the money. And then by Wednesday, I had to instruct the head of business development to issue a release that we are no longer doing. In other words, we've gotten to our threshold, so we don't want funds again. You guys should just stop. So now, that's a very interesting story, isn't it? But it's not as easy as it seems. You need to have built to a certain level before you could raise that kind of money. And one of the things I want to say that has really helped to get to that level is integrity. It's very important that whatever you do, you have to have gathered almost like a flawless record for yourself out there. Real estate is so good that once you start it, you start building a community of people, and then gradually you guys continue to evolve together. You stay together, maybe on a WhatsApp group or something. If you have anything that looks very fantastic, you throw it open there, they'll respond because they trust you. So trust is very key. And then for us to be able to do that, a lot of what I just told you, this short story I told you now, is how so many of us, are able to do some of these big and gigantic projects that you see. I've never seen any developer who is so rich that probably doesn't need funds from anybody. Yes, I haven't seen. Many of us, what we do is through private equity funding, real estate, banks don't fund real estate. So obviously, the only most veritable way is this way I've just talked about. So now, what they say, courage is not without fear, but doing something despite fear. So it's not like we don't have this fear within us. Of course we do. To be honest with you, I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I was just thinking, was it a good decision? Was it not a good decision? And then the fear was there. But going in spite of that fear is that courage that they are talking about. So you need to have courage. It's important that whatever you are doing, despite the fact that you are all hit up with the fear, rise up or rise above the fear and then have that courage. Be courageous. It's very key for you. To be able to have, there's nobody that is special in any way. I think I've talked about that in several forums. It's just all about you. It's how you are able to mold yourself. If you distinct yourself and then you believe you can do something, you are so sure about what you are doing, you can achieve it. It's just, that's basically the first step, is for you to be able to, have that resilience, that courage, that big dream, that that fired up in you, and then before you know what's happening, you're already doing it. So today we do all kinds of projects. I was talking to somebody and some investors last 2 days ago, and I told them, look, what about building the tallest building in Abuja? I know we have one already, but we can do it. And then the man was like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? But here we are. Today we are building a resort, we are building 3 hotels, we are doing so many big projects almost at the same time. It's all about some of these factors that I've mentioned. So for me, I think there's no point dwelling too much about the opportunities in whether commercial or residential real estate. You already know that. What you need to know now is how to harness those opportunities. How just not to continue to hear how these things are so rosy, how they are so fantastic, how you too can be the next Michelia. How can you be the next Aiben? That's what you should be talking about. And to be honest, you can do it. There's practically nothing, it's not a big deal, you know? So I just told you one of the ways we go about raising funds. And I'm sure I could remember in our last forum, Michelle also mentioned how he's able to get his proceed from an agency that he did and then turn it around to, become capital. I've also done something similar, and then today this is the story, So whatever you think you're doing now, trust me, you're on the right path. You can't get it wrong when it comes to real estate. As far as Abuja is concerned, we are just barely scratching the surface. There's still so much that we need to do. We haven't even started. Like I said, I was looking through something this morning about commercial real estate. The future of real estate is about commercial real estate. If you go to many buildings abroad, globally now, you see people building high-rise, multifunctional buildings that has almost everything you want. There's a building in Vietnam that has, Vienna actually, it has a stadium, it has a radio station, it has a club, it has a school, secondary school within a building, and of course it has residential apartments. And then so what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to real estate, there's just nothing you cannot do. It all depends on your concept and then what you want to create, and then how much you are able to drive the dream up, fire it up, and then get to wherever you want to get to, basically. So in terms of opportunities, I think we should look at it from the point of view that Abuja is just starting, is evolving. It might be, yes, I also build in Lagos, so I can tell you a bit about, compare the two if you have to juxtapose it, Lagos and Abuja. Like the last speaker said, Lagos is slightly a bit saturated. Yes, he might be correct to an extent. But I tell you, generally in Nigeria, we haven't even started. There's still so much that we can do or we can achieve with real estate. In Lagos, they've been able to open a lot of towns, private, unlike in Abuja here. In Lagos, opportunities are given to private developers to open new districts, new towns like the one they did in Eco Atlantic, and fantastic project, Site and Services. Today it has become a global project, earning so much for the country and all that, So yes, buildings are being done there, high-rise are being done. So for me, even these conventional houses we are building here, I think it's a little bit moribund. It's almost obsolete. Nobody does mass housing again, where you have to build single unit of houses spread around, with a prototype and all this. Is, to be honest with you, is outdated. What they do abroad now is people build condominium houses very high. I mean, they just continue to go high. They litter the skyline with so much building, and then buildings can now be moved around. You can shovel them around. You can build it within few days. You don't have to wait almost entirely years to construct project. So there's a whole lot of innovations that are happening that we have not even tapped into. So whether you are a realtor, or whether you're a developer, or perhaps you're a lawyer, you want to offer legal services within the real estate, or even a developer, you really truly want to go into real estate, just know that as far as Abuja is concerned, the opportunities are enormous. They are enormous, and then you are not wrong. Whatever services, if you are just providing attached services within the real estate sector, in other words, maybe you are selling some materials, hardener, screening materials, whatever, you are still on the right track. You know, I recall a lady was in my office some times ago. She wanted to go into sanitary wares, and I told her very well that, look, okay, fine. I told her, look, by the time you pick off, you won't be able to meet the demand. I mean, jokingly, I was telling, she thought I was joking. Utopia, you can ask her, she has something in Utako there. She's representing a brand which is from the UK. And I told her emphatically, I said, look, you can't meet the demand. The problem is always the supply. I mean, people just feel that the demand is enormous. And then today, she was in my sites last 2 weeks, and then she was telling me, look, she's going to collapse. I said, what happened? So she has a lot of, so much orders that she cannot meet. She's having problem of bringing those orders from here. So if you look at the turnaround time, before she, of course, because we don't manufacture them here. So before she brings them from China to get here, she has lost about 1 month, and then the orders are there. You know, people are even giving her money ahead. So that is just one aspect. But of course, it's also into real estate. You know, because it's not just when you are building houses or you are selling houses, that's when you are into real estate. Like I said, because I'm here to actually talk about the opportunities. The opportunity cut across board. You can continue to make money from whichever angle you are involved with. And by the way, I must say this. For me, I still think that the kind of real estate we do in Nigeria, for now, is still so low that we're just focused or fixated with the money. You know, for us, it's still more or less like a trading business. Okay, you get the land, and then you plot it out. How many can I get? How much did I buy? How much is my profit? And then the next month, Michelle, I will say, look, okay, I have so XY number of houses. How much did I use in building these houses? How much am I going to sell? What is my profit margin? Basically, that's what everybody does here. But I tell you, it's much more than that, to be honest. You know, real estate has evolved to a situation where you can, doing a project, you can continue to make money in your lifetime with that project. Whether it's through the electricity charge, whether it's through the direct agency that you earn from that project, whether it's through the security guard. You know, I mean, you can imagine if you have an estate, you need to provide security. You can provide security, and then people pay you. That's money. And then if you have, if it's sometimes today, an estate that I built almost 10 years ago, people still come to me, and I signed something for them, those who are transacting, selling their houses or selling their land or whatever, and I still make money. So we need to understand that it is a sector that is almost continuum. It's a sector that if you do well, you don't have to be short-sighted. You don't look at the short-run profit. We don't have to be short-run oriented in our profit maximization. We should have to look at a long-run thing for ourselves, something that can actually transcend us and our family, that can help us build generational wealth. That is what real estate is all about. And lastly, I must say this, for those who are into realtorship, you know, me, I've always been saying this, and I wasn't mixing words when I said it the last time. Realtorship business is so huge that you can make it even larger than development business. You know, if you go to, it's just that here in Nigeria, they allow almost every Dick and Harry, everybody to do construction. But it's not like that in the developed world. In the developed world, you select the construction companies that can actually build. It's not everybody that can build. I think in Dubai, they probably have like 6 alone. Yes, in the whole of Dubai, that can build, that are into construction. In Canada, there are 9. You can't just bust into these places and then start building. So for those who are actually making money in these places are not really the developers, but the realtors. The realtors just sit back and then they watch developers do these things, and then they market what developers will build, and then they make their money coolly. They don't have to bust their head. They don't have to think about how to finance, because financing a project can be very cumbersome. They don't have to talk about legal, like my friend here was, trying to lecture us on. They don't worry too much about that, because they transfer whatever liabilities to the developer. So they are just like a chain, a broker. That's why they are brokers, So they really, truly don't have any sort of liability as such. So what they do is just to sit in the middle and then continue to make money from commissions. So yes, I understand that here is not regulated, so which is why many of you are still trying to struggle. And then, because somebody can just say, look, like something happened to me last week. Well, not to me, a friend of mine who was hoping to get a commission from a job or a deal. And then the guy who eventually bought the property went behind, to meet the owner. And then how it works. And then at the end of the day, try to cut off, the guy who has done the work, which is, people don't understand that getting clients, my brother, it's very hard. It's difficult. Even if you have all the buildings, clients don't fall from heaven. Now, somebody has to market them, somebody has to follow them up, somebody has to talk them, pep them up so that they can now buy. Those are very serious work. But here, well, maybe I'm also guilty, I don't know. But the way we look at it is that we don't feel that they do so much work. But trust me, abroad, if you try, commissions are a serious matter. In fact, you pay commission first before you even talk about the property. They tell you go and pay commission first. So what the guy did was that he went behind, and at the end of the day, today is still an unresolved issue. But what matters was that the property was sold, and then the guy who brought the buyers, who actually brought the buyer, was not giving anything, because the buyers, some people went behind and they tried to cut him off the business and all that. So you see, the thing is that, are you now going to say that I can't market any property that a letter is not duly handed over to me? In other words, if a property owner does not give me letter or right of marketing, then I won't market such property? Of course, no. You see, so these are some of the, we will evolve over time, but these are some of the things the challenges we grapple with, because we are still an evolving market and an evolving sector. Ideally, you don't market what you are not duly commissioned to market. Yeah, that's how it should work. But of course, just like us too, you don't pay money. How do I pay money? That kind of money I mentioned earlier, I paid it, and truly, I didn't go to ages. I didn't have search reports, like you were trying to say. What I did, the best I did was just a letter between the two of us, just an offer. I didn't have to just waste too much time. And then after I paid, the price was doubled. So this is how we operate. Most of us who are developers, if you truly sit with us and then you really want to hear the inner story of how we do some of these things, you surely understand what I'm talking about. You will know that it's deeper than you think. I think because it's a public forum, so I'll rather just leave it at that. It's a lot deeper, because there's a whole lot. People who are in this whole environment, the government themselves are not too sincere. Those who are checking the records in ages are also not too sincere. The developer, so how do you operate in a sector where almost everybody is not sincere? so barrister.
He faulted the law too.
He faulted the law. so that's why you see people who have, first class or 2-1 in LLB, they can't do well in real estate. Because it don't be that one who. This thing is about information. You just hear one land just bust out. How much is it? Bro, okay, who get the land? Hey, Michelle, you hear about this land? Who be the person with the? Oh, now these people, you just call them. How far now? Bring account. Send money now. Why you do like this? Yeah. But wait, don't get me wrong. You still need to do due diligence. I'm not talking about. But you see, you need to rise to a certain level before you can do what I'm doing now. Of course. Because you need to have a lot of contact to be able to call people, call the head of ages, call the head of this, call the head of this, and then you won't do too much diligence. But if you are still coming up and then you're probably trying to evolve, then you need to do due diligence. You need that search report signed like my friend here say, and then hold it, keep it in your bag, it's the original and all that, So finally, I'm off, I guess, right? Okay, good. Just 1 minute to cap it up. Michelle, I want to truly urge you to continue to do what you're doing. You know, some of us we want to do it. Maybe we don't have the opportunity yet, but I hope one day I will be able to also do this. You know, for people. And very soon, I would love to do this. So I will just urge you: don't get tired of us. Just do it. You know, continue to do it, and then God will support you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very, very